Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great out there. And let me tell you a story today about uncharming topic. Curses, bad eye, spells, all the wrong wishing and everything what you understand and everyone under the not so gracious name curses. Um, in the history, everything what was sent um, to harm someone, it was under this name of energetic attack. It was taking words, rituals, it was connected with emotions, and everything what I'm going to tell you today, please take it as a visionary fiction. Don't believe it without checking. And because everyone has this story in their life, at least one time you heard like, oh my god, maybe I'm under spell or cursed, or there is a series of misfortune happening. And I had many of those phone calls and asked me, am I under cursed, am I spelled, bad eye, are you taking off bad eyes, and all these kind of things. So there is a little trap thinking that, because there is again this thing when you think that, and just because there is something going on or somebody's life is falling apart doesn't mean exactly that. So it's a lot of times when it's so easy to blame it on the curse that it's happening. Everything that it's so-called wrong wishing. So even you can yell at your own plants in the house and they will die, right? The energy, the vibration, the intention, the feelings. It has vibration, it has impact. But of course, in every culture, Egyptian, African, Polish, Ukrainian, every culture, I'm not going to name all of it, there is a culture and everybody has these stories. And just maybe 3 years ago, I was in Morocco, and early morning, like 6 o'clock, there was a woman walking around the house of someone and yelling at this house. So what do you think she was doing? I don't know. So you tell me. And there was another incident that a lady put something around her through the hand, said something that the tourist didn't understand, and asked me what that was. Was it a curse? What did she do? And the feeling of it just wasn't feeling right. Something was off about that woman. So every culture has something, some wrongdoing, some bad wishing, and from the very, very mild form, like, screaming at someone, just wishing wrong or revenging on someone, to some sort of powerful, some people say these rituals that are intentionally performed very consciously. I'm not going to tell you exactly how do you know that you are cursed, because those typical explanations like, oh, your life is falling apart, you have lines of misfortune, it's very easily it's very easy to blame on the curse everything what's happening in your life. But there are a few points that you can find out if you deal with something like a curse. First of all, there is something in your family. Someone tells stories running from generation. That's a long sort of curse that that by fact. So people secretly gossiping about it. You heard something, or if it's not going through the generation, you observed it. Like me in Morocco, for example. You observed someone's behavior that was off. Something was peculiar, something extraordinary that It wasn't normal to say. It was said in with a certain feeling, emotion, intentionally. Maybe there was some object accompanying that person, something like that. So that's how you know. Someone talks about it. These are facts, observation. Another way how you can find out about it, you intensely dreaming about peculiar scene after that someone wished you wrong. So you have nightmares, you dream about certain moments, and these dreams are very vivid usually, and you know exactly who did it. Those of you who are dreamers, who are intuitive, they will know. This knowledge comes in the form of dreaming. It may happen that some of you who experienced astral traveling, you will see this person visiting you in this astral realm, checking the impact of what happened. So there is a lot of ways that are happening in your dreams, how you can find out. So pay attention to your dreams, number 2. And number 3, and this is the one that also you have to be very careful to check. It is indeed a series of unfortunate events, true, but before you can consider it that there is something to it, again, look for those peculiarities. So for example, someone dies in every generation, someone dies the same age, more or less, the same incident, something that is also unnatural, extraordinary, it doesn't fit, something is off about this situation, or something is repetitive in your life. Here again, you have to be careful, because just about this law of similarities, and we tend to draw to ourselves certain experience over and over until we understand it's not a course. This has to be a little bit more peculiar. Something has to be off about it. A certain signs. Maybe this person is saying certain words, and another person, not knowing this person, repeats those certain words. Look for anything that is odd. So these were 3 types. You have different types of courses. There probably you will find a lot in internet about, because everybody's categorizing that differently. I personally like to say about aspects of it. So the length, how strong, how long, and when it is activated. That's what I'm interested in, especially from my books. I used this concept of curse in my books. I gave it pretty a lot of space there, because this topic is repeating in my life, and I hear a lot of stories, and really extraordinary stories about what was happening in families of people, what's coming out, and these people are usually not aware of that until they are saying that, and they come to the certain conclusions. They are tracing, observing, analyzing, and then coming to a certain conclusion, like, could that be related? And we look at that sometimes together, sometimes they already know, and they asking me just for the confirmation, if what they think could be that, and we go a little bit deeper to it to check, because not every time that something peculiar is happening, it's a course. But every wrong wishing is a mild form of that, but it's short, maybe just wrong wishing, unconscious, somebody was angry, so these things are usually easier to take off. But there are people who are doing magic and are into different practices, and they do that consciously, and sometimes they even take money for it. So the length of that, it depends on the strength and the years of practice of that person, the strength, how it will impact and penetrate your protective system. And this is actually wild topic, wide topic, because we are talking about this astral subtle bodies around you, natural ways of protecting yourself, and everyone again has a different structure. And another one is activated, so it can take from several days to years and go through generation. I heard so many stories about it. And first of all, it would be really easy for me to just not pay attention to it, but just hearing so many stories, there is something to it. Whatever you think, whatever you believe, please always be cautious about it. It's not always the case, but there is something in it. So whether it's all again connected to your psychology, subconscious mind, you can look at it from a different perspective. If you don't like this idea about curse, it's just some sort of a pattern around you that goes on, and maybe with the right type of a person, specialist, you can clear it out. I like to think, because of course for me as an author, artist, and having a strong imagination, I like to think that there is something more into it, and also it's easier for me to operate on these subtle planes where I can solve a lot of things this way through my imagination. So the most actually important, oh yeah, I think I didn't tell you about this. I will give you an example. So for example, there was a course that every generation one person was dying in a certain age, and it was always a male. That sort of peculiarity. So the activation was not immediately, but it was always activated to the certain. It's like stick to someone in the family tree. That sort of things. It can also activate at a certain day in the year. So it's also different. So look for that. Patterns. And the most important thing, because I'm going to skip the part how to curse someone, you don't want to know. And of course there are many methods and ways, and we have to really have a self-control, especially about our anger, because every time we wish someone's wrong, it's a sort of a cursing. It's a sort of thing that we can do unconsciously, even if it's maybe not that strong. It can hit someone. So most important thing is how to take it off. And here I will tell something that is very, very unpopular. If you are intuitive, if you work with dreams, if you work with yourself, if you have some knowledge and you know some things, be very careful about going to specialists about it. So I won't tell you something. I would actually tell you something against the whole promotion and marketing. Don't call me, because first of all, you are the one that knows what to do. If you are intuitive, if you see that, if you have information in the dreams, and sure, if you go to someone and you pay a certain money for it, it has to be someone you can really trust. There are a lot of people out there, and If you decide to go to someone, please take reference, recommendations, and see who that really is. Because if you do not have that intuition, it's going to be hard for you to differentiate if this person is really helping you, not just charging you a lot of money. So if you can, do it yourself, and here is how. And the bad news is it's hard to take it off. If it was something really strong, really put there for a long time. The good news is it's possible. And if you have trusted friends who do the same work, you can do it with them. In the group there is a certain power, but again, you have to pick your people right. Another now, how to do it, the idea is more about understanding what the course is really, because if it's a wrong wishing, if it's a sort of like Vikings were calling energetic attack, then you already in knowing what it is, you already have the idea how to undo it. There is a recipe in knowing what. So I like to say, I actually wrote this in my book, the Sarah, the priestess I was writing about. She said something like evil plus evil is just simple math. It's two evils. So to undo a course, you need an opposition of that. You cannot revenge, you cannot throw more negativity to it. That's not the way how you will take it off. So the idea is something I will disappoint you right now because it's very simple. It's probably, that's why it's the hardest thing to apply. It's love, compassion, blessing, thankfulness. I would not underestimate the word of blessing, the idea of blessing, because the wrongdoing, wrong wishing, it's a strong, emotionally charged words and actions with something negative. So to balance that, you need equal, actually more, apply the opposite. So if you just think that you are thankful, that's not going to do the work. You need to apply it with really feeling that, with really surrounding yourself, the clearing that, and applying the feeling of it so strongly. And this is the hardest thing to do. And from that reason, if you don't know how to do it yourself, then I do recommend someone that you really trust. You check this person, and they are great people in this world. That they do that. A lot of them, they are called shamans, healers, and they will help you. I won't tell you the recommendation here because I'm not going to promote anyone, but the most important thing is to follow your heart and try to apply. If you follow those guidelines and you still think that you maybe are spelled under course or whatever it is, try to do it yourself or within the circle of people that you know. And then if it doesn't work, then start your research carefully. Do not rush with it, that you may encounter someone that can really, really help you. I hope this was entertaining. Let me know if you have any questions about this peculiar topic, and treat it as an entertainment. Do not believe me. We are in the world of magic, imagination, visionary fiction, and I need to tell that hopefully enough. But please leave me a comment. Let me know what shall I tell you more about, what you are interested in, and I will do my best. Thank you. Bye bye.